God will soon give his curse to narcissists. It's a chilling thought that someone's unyielding manipulation, lack of empathy, and complete disregard for others could one day bring down divine wrath. It might sound extreme, but if we look at the patterns of narcissism, both from a spiritual and psychological perspective, it's hard to ignore the possibility that the consequences for such behavior could go beyond earthly justice. For narcissists who deceive, exploit, and hurt without remorse, a spiritual reckoning may be inevitable. But what if, as some believe, this reckoning is already on its way? In this video, we'll explore what the idea of divine justice means for narcissists and how their actions may ultimately lead to their downfall. We'll dive into the complexities of narcissistic behavior, explore how spiritual traditions and teachings view narcissism, and understand the inevitable consequences that narcissists may face from a higher power. Stick around until the end, because we'll explore how this spiritual perspective can help you heal from any relationship with a narcissist, as well as how it can give you the strength to move forward with clarity and purpose. Before we get into the heart of this discussion, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with anyone who might need this kind of understanding. Whether you're dealing with a narcissist right now, or you're simply interested in understanding the spiritual side of toxic relationships, this video will give you the clarity and wisdom you need. At first glance, it can often seem as though narcissists manage to get away with everything. They hurt others without facing any apparent consequences, engaging in manipulative behavior, lying, and exploiting those around them to satisfy their own insatiable needs. To the outside world, they may appear untouchable, as though their actions are without repercussion. This outward appearance, however, is merely an illusion. While it may seem like narcissists glide through life without ever having to answer for their behavior, the truth is that their complete disregard for the well-being of others will eventually catch up with them. This catch-up, however, may not look like what we expect, and may occur in ways that the narcissist might never fully understand or comprehend. Narcissists live in a constructed reality, a world of delusion in which they truly believe that they are above the rules and laws that govern everyone else. In their minds, they are exempt from the consequences that the rest of us must face. They thrive on admiration, the exercise of power, and the manipulation of others to maintain control. To them, people are not seen as individuals with their own needs, feelings, and desires. They are simply tools or pawns to be used in the narcissist's ongoing quest for validation and domination. This need for constant external reinforcement, combined with an inability to genuinely empathize with others, pushes them further down a dark and treacherous path. In many spiritual traditions and teachings, this lack of empathy is regarded as a profound spiritual flaw, one that carries significant and far-reaching consequences for the individual's spiritual journey. The inability to connect with others on a deep, authentic level and the selfish pursuit of personal gain will inevitably lead to a spiritual downfall. And it's only a matter of time before these consequences begin to manifest. When we explore the idea of divine justice, we come to a deeper understanding of why narcissists are ultimately destined for a spiritual collapse. The actions they take, no matter how seemingly inconsequential or unpunished in the immediate moment, are not without cosmic repercussions. In the spiritual realm, nothing goes unnoticed or unaccounted for. Every lie they tell, every person they manipulate, and every promise they break creates ripples of negative energy that will eventually return to them. The universe, or higher forces, does not work in the same way as earthly justice systems, but that does not mean these actions escape repercussions. The concept of karma, which is deeply rooted in many spiritual and religious traditions, explains that the energy we put out into the world, whether positive or negative, will eventually return to us. For narcissists, their constant manipulation, deception, and betrayal of trust may appear to have no immediate consequences. But in the grander, spiritual scheme of things, their actions are far from unobserved. As these narcissists continue their harmful behavior, they accumulate a karmic debt. Every hurt they cause, every manipulation they attempt, and every emotional wound they inflict upon others feeds into this debt. It may seem like their actions go unpunished for a long time, but eventually, the weight of this accumulated negativity will catch up with them. When that time comes, the burden of their past actions, whether consciously recognized or not, will have to be confronted. This confrontation with their karmic debt often results in profound spiritual suffering, where the narcissist is forced to face the emotional and spiritual pain they have inflicted upon others throughout their life. This process is not immediate. It may not unfold in a way that is recognizable or even understood by the narcissist themselves, but it is inevitable. Divine justice is not always apparent in the way we expect it to be, and it may not always look like earthly punishment or retribution. But when we consider the possibility that a higher power or divine force sees and understands everything, we realize that there is a balance to the universe that cannot be overlooked. Narcissists may be able to enjoy temporary power, control, and dominance, but the spiritual debt they continue to accrue will eventually have to be paid. Just as light exists, so does darkness. Just as love is a universal force, so is justice. The narcissist's continual lack of compassion and their ongoing destruction of relationships cannot go on indefinitely without eventually encountering the consequences of divine justice. No one can live a life of complete disregard for others without facing some form of reckoning, even if that reckoning is spiritual in nature rather than physical or external. One of the most painful and tragic aspects of narcissism is the deep isolation it creates. Although narcissists may appear to be surrounded by others, they are often incredibly lonely, trapped within their own inflated egos. Their need for admiration and control pushes others away, either through manipulative behavior or by alienating those who genuinely care for them. As a result, they are often unable to experience the true connections and bonds that are essential for a fulfilling, meaningful life. The relationships they form are typically superficial, based on their need for validation rather than authentic emotional intimacy. This inability to connect with others on a real, human level leads to a deep sense of isolation. They may appear to have many people in their lives, but on the inside, they are profoundly alone, unable to experience true love or mutual understanding. In a sense, their lives are cursed long before any divine punishment comes into play. This curse of isolation, where their relationships deteriorate and their true selves are hidden behind a carefully crafted facade, reflects the emptiness they feel inside. The narcissist may never admit to this loneliness, and they may even project an image of self-sufficiency and invincibility. But deep down, they are profoundly disconnected from others, and this disconnection only grows over time. While the narcissist may seem to operate without consequence, the eventual truth is that no one can escape the spiritual consequences of their actions. The grand cosmic balance that governs the universe ensures that everyone, regardless of their apparent invincibility, will eventually face the repercussions of their choices. For the narcissist, this reckoning often takes the form of a deep spiritual awakening, one that may not come easily or gently, but will ultimately serve as the inevitable result of their behavior. It is only when the weight of their actions finally catches up with them that they will begin to understand the true cost of their manipulations, lies, and disregard for others. Until that moment arrives, however, they remain trapped in their own illusions, disconnected from the deeper truths that could set them free. From a spiritual perspective, narcissists can find themselves trapped in an even deeper isolation once their manipulative tactics begin to lose their power. As people become increasingly aware of their falsehoods and deceitful behavior, the narcissist begins to experience the painful reality of being abandoned by those they once controlled. The relationships that once seemed to give them a sense of importance and validation slowly start to unravel, and they are left in a vast emptiness, struggling to relate to anyone on a meaningful, authentic level. This deep sense of isolation is, in many ways, a curse that the narcissist has earned through their own actions. They have spent so much of their lives deceiving others and feeding off their emotional vulnerabilities that they never learned how to build genuine connections. Now, as their manipulative games no longer work, they are left to face the consequences of their behavior. A life filled with loneliness, rejection, and despair. Narcissists may try to fill the void with temporary distractions, whether through new relationships, material success, or superficial interactions. However, these attempts at filling the emptiness will always fall short. They cannot escape the truth that no matter how many people they manipulate or control, true connection, a bond of real understanding, empathy, and love, is something they will never experience. Their inability to open up, to be vulnerable, and to offer true emotional intimacy means that they are forever doomed to walk this path of isolation. While they may try to convince themselves that they are above the need for genuine connection, deep down they know that they are missing something vital, something that others have, and that they will never have access to. The curse of isolation grows more potent as time passes, and the more they push people away, the more they become trapped in their own web of deception. When we consider this curse from a spiritual perspective, it becomes clear that it serves as a form of divine justice. Narcissists have often caused significant harm to others through their actions, causing pain and emotional suffering without ever showing remorse or empathy. For many, these individuals can feel like an unstoppable force, wreaking havoc in the lives of those around them. However, the universe has a way of balancing things out, and for the narcissist, the isolation they face is one of the most profound consequences they can encounter. At first glance, this isolation may seem insignificant, a mere consequence of a few failed relationships. But for the narcissist, who thrives on external validation and control, this void becomes their greatest punishment. Their former sources of praise, admiration, and affection gradually fade away, leaving them feeling empty, unimportant, and utterly alone. It's only a matter of time before they realize that the people they've hurt and used are no longer interested in them, and that the validation they once sought is nothing more than a distant memory. As we broaden our understanding of narcissism from a spiritual viewpoint, it becomes increasingly clear that divine justice operates in ways that may not always be immediate or apparent. Narcissists often believe that they are exempt from the natural laws of the universe, convinced that their ability to manipulate others and avoid consequence sets them above the rules. They may act with impunity, fully expecting that their actions will never come back to them. However, this is a dangerous illusion. The truth is that the universe is always watching, and every action, every deceit, and every emotional wound inflicted on another will eventually return to the narcissist. Their cruelty, manipulation, and dishonesty do not go unnoticed. And although the consequences may not be immediate, the narcissist will eventually find themselves paying the price for their actions. This process of divine justice is not about someone else punishing the narcissist. It is not about retribution that comes from another person or even a specific event. Instead, the narcissist's actions will eventually cause their own undoing as the lies, manipulation, and negativity they have spread throughout their life begin to erode the very foundation of their existence. When this happens, the narcissist will find that it is not the actions of others that have caused their downfall, but the consequences of their own behavior that have led them to this point. This is often what some refer to as karma, the belief that the energy we put out into the world will eventually return to us, whether good or bad. For the narcissist, who has spent their life causing harm and spreading negativity, karma will inevitably catch up to them. They will come to understand that their actions have consequences, even if they once believed they could avoid them. Divine justice, however, doesn't always arrive in the form of immediate punishment or external consequences. It is often more subtle and insidious. For the narcissist, it may take the form of an inner unraveling, a slow disintegration of their self-image and the illusions they have built around themselves. As their relationships fall apart, as their manipulations lose their effectiveness, and as the people they once controlled begin to distance themselves, the narcissist will be forced to confront the emptiness they've been running from for so long. This is the true price they must pay. Their sense of superiority, the very thing they have clung to throughout their lives, will begin to slip away, and they will realize that the house of cards they've carefully constructed is starting to collapse. The truth is that no amount of manipulation or control can ever replace the genuine connections they so desperately need. But the longer they deny their need for connection, the more hollow their existence will become. Ultimately, the narcissist's spiritual unraveling is inevitable. They may fight it, trying to control others, manipulate situations, or build new false identities, but in the end, they cannot escape the reality of their own actions. The false sense of superiority they've built will crumble, and they will face the loneliness and despair they once tried so hard to avoid. This spiritual fall from grace is not an external punishment. It is the natural consequence of their own actions and beliefs. As their facade of invincibility fades, they will be left to confront the truth that they have spent their lives running from their own vulnerability, and now they must face the isolation that results from their inability to truly connect with others. The scars they have created in their relationships will haunt them, and they will never fully escape the consequences of the emotional damage they've caused. The narcissist may try to fill the void with new people or achievements, but in the end, they will always be haunted by the knowledge that true connection is something they will never experience. Their own spiritual unraveling is the greatest punishment they could ever face, and it will follow them wherever they go. Thank you for watching this video and exploring the profound spiritual insights behind narcissism and divine justice. Understanding the spiritual consequences of narcissistic behavior can help you make sense of the pain and suffering they cause. It also gives you the strength to walk away from toxic relationships and seek the peace and healing you deserve. Narcissists may seem to be untouchable, but divine justice is inevitable. They cannot escape the consequences of their actions forever. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who may need this message. Let's continue this conversation in the comments. Share your thoughts and experiences, and let's support each other as we work toward healing and peace. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. God will soon give his curse to narcissists. It's a chilling thought that someone's unyielding manipulation, lack of empathy, and complete disregard for others could one day bring down divine wrath. It might sound extreme, but if we look at the patterns of narcissism, both from a